All good. So, we're going to begin our practice today a little bit more, a little backwards. And I'd like to begin our practice today. All right. I want to begin our practice today um, with a dedication. And this is just to recognize um, that we in the Spokane community are dealing with, are standing before a very immediate, real, frightening loss. A lot of grief coming in, a lot of anxiety coming in. And so I'd like to dedicate our practice here. I'd like to dedicate the fact that we took the time to show up. I'd like to dedicate our presence. I'd like to dedicate any clarity that's come through here today. I'd like to dedicate all of the peace that we intentionally generate in this community to radiate outward to the hundreds and hundreds of people negatively impacted by the fires that are continuing in Spokane. I'd like to dedicate this to all of the first responders, the firefighters on the ground and in the air. And I'd like to acknowledge all of the people directing traffic and all of the people opening their homes and so forth. It's really been an extraordinary community-wide effort. And finally, I'd like to dedicate the clarity of this practice to the minds out there that continue to deny the ill and negative effects of a changing climate due to a human footprint. And I'd like to dedicate the clarity and the compassion of this practice to anyone in a position of leadership and political governance to wake up. So let's pick a sentiment of metta as a way to set an intention for our practice today. I'm just going to close my eyes and feel through my giant basket, see what comes forward. Here we go. This one reads, "May my silence speak clearly without aggression. May my silence speak clearly without aggression." Welcome everyone to SatiSeva. This is a gathering of mindfulness where we're going to explore as a community 16 mindfulness practices inspired by the extraordinary life, really, of Thich Nhat Hanh. These mindfulness practices, I first sort of came across them many years ago, studying the order of interbeing. And I just was so moved by them. And in 2020, I rewrote them to make them applicable to the issues, to the realities defining recovery and support when trying to love someone with negative habit energy. For the past few weeks, we've been exploring the fourth mindfulness training in the spirit category called the mindfulness practice of ambivalence. And I really, really love this particular topic. And one of the things I want to emphasize, particularly if you're joining us for the first time and haven't heard much about ambivalence, is the encouragement and the gentle reminder that ambivalence and apathy are sisters, they are not the same, and they often get confused. So ambivalence, when it arises, can feel like, I just don't care, I just can't be bothered. However, when that inability to care or that lack of desire really starts to govern one's actions, one's mind, one's mood, one's heart, that is no longer ambivalence. That's moved into apathy. And apathy is a very shut down experience. Closes all the doors, closes all the windows, takes away all the options. Ambivalence, on the other hand, and a very, very simple way to make these distinct, is a place of suspended not caring. And in that suspension, it's a way for the mind, the body, and the heart to just take a break. Can't think about it anymore. I just need to go for a walk. I just need to clear my head. I just need to go do something else. I just can't look at whatever this is head on. I can't deal. I can't care anymore. And part of the curious thing about ambivalence is the reminder, and this is very, very tender, that its real motivation is that we care so much. And that's at the heart, the distinction between apathy and ambivalence. Apathy really has stopped caring. Ambivalence cares so deeply that without taking breaks every once in a while, one risks falling into that dark, obscuring place of apathy. And so ambivalence is this mindfulness practice of strengthening and nurturing and encouraging and opening. And one of the things that I find curious, and I would encourage you all to contemplate this in your own way and in your own time. In the realm of support in recovery communities and in a lot of circles that I have navigated, there's this really dualistic attitude that can happen when somebody is heavily ravaged with addiction, with substance use disorders, particularly alcohol and opiates. Those are so mind altering, and those are so distorting in the mind that it can change one's heart and one's behavior to such incredible extremes. And it's really, really difficult to bear witness to that. It's really difficult to know what to do. It's really difficult, without any practice at all, to sit with being helpless. And so what ends up happening is people are like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't know what to do. I'm done. I'm just going to have this tough love and I'm going to kick him out. And that's it. I'm done. I just don't care anymore. And again, That may be true. That may be a true apathetic state. But my hunch is that it's an ambivalent state of mind. And people have just run out of options. They just truly don't know what else to do. And they feel stuck. Because being with the uncertainty, bearing witness to the helplessness, being present, pausing, all of those things that we talk about and we practice, and to the point that we don't think, you may not think of it as a big deal anymore. It's so huge. And I think what people, the story they tell themselves is, I have to stop caring in order to draw this strong boundary. And that lack of caring is actually a betrayal to one's spirit. So no wonder people feel incredibly conflicted. And that conflict comes out in all manner of action. And what if, and this is the thing I want you to contemplate, what if we could share with people, I care so deeply that I don't know how to sit with my own helplessness, that I feel awkward because I don't actually know how to be effective. I don't know what to do. And in order to not lose myself, I have to create a boundary to respect myself and my needs, as well as respect what you're going through that I just have to learn to bear witness to. Ooh, but I care so deeply. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to do something different. Imagine if we could start using some of that language and infusing our connections with that. It's something to play with. It's something to think about. It's something to add to maybe some silence that feels aggressive and hostile because we're angry and annoyed and bewildered. And the reality is, even though we may want to cut someone off, remember, it might be not that you don't care anymore, but instead that you care so deeply and don't know how to channel it. I'd like to share with you one paragraph in a new section. I'm on page 86 if anyone cares to read along. And it's under the section called certainty. And I'm just going to let that word sit quietly for a moment. Certainty. It is amazing to me when I navigate support circles how certain people are that their loved one will never recover. They're never going to get better. Once an addict, always an addict. And then people wonder why they feel hopeless and helpless. And even in that mind of certainty, it's amazing how certainty can act like a horse with blinders on, just funneling in one direction. I'm so certain my loved one is just this one way. I'm so certain I'm just this one way. And yet the reality is often something very different. When we practice ambivalence, discomfort may arise because we could be in direct conflict with certainty, ambivalence's opposite. Certainty is not an enemy, even though it can be demanding and adamant about its expectations. From the human perspective, certainty does not always see eye to eye with life. So when life happens in ways we did not expect or want, our sense of certainty is flooded with not knowing, which can feel out of control and scary. Certainty hates this because, like apathy, it likes everything dualistic, neat and tidy, right or wrong, good or bad, positive or negative. Ambivalence is an in-between place. And make no mistake, friends, uncertainty, not knowing, can be excruciating. Ask anybody who's waiting for serious test results to come back. Ask anybody who's been evacuated in Spokane from the fires or anywhere nearby. The waiting, the wondering, the filling the space of the unknown with all kinds of what-if story. And we do that. Because there's something in our manner of being human that just needs to know, wants to know, feels more safe knowing. We have a better sense of control. And none of that is bad. It's bad when, if you want to think of it that way, it's difficult, it's challenging when we resist the reality, which is right now, I don't know. And then treating it with a little bit of ambivalence, a little bit of neutrality that says, well, in this space of not knowing, and in this space of recognizing that I have this arising that needs to know, what do I know? And then we can practice the instrument of peace, taking stock. These are the things I know. And when we take stock in that way, what we're doing in a very direct way is we're cultivating presence in the moment. And this isn't an intellectual exercise. It can be, but what I'm encouraging is at the level of the heart. How do you feel? What's the emotion in this moment? So let's practice that. What's going on in your life that's uncertain? How do you feel about that? What are the stories that may be arising? And rather than treating any of it with negativity or hurt or whatever, invite some peace, invite some friendly curiosity. What do I know? At the beginning of our practice, friends, we dedicated this to lots and lots of different people. But again, I want to bring our attention to the thousands of people all over the Pacific Northwest who are dealing with the effects of climate change and the increase of fires. We are also dealing with, in the Pacific Northwest, potentially dealing with apathetic leadership, which is going to be very challenging. And we're also dealing with and navigating very sincere, empathetic leadership too. So there's a conflict potentially. And there are people who are right in the middle of it. And there are those of us who are on the outside, maybe lucky. I'm certainly lucky. And the invitation is to lean in and feel with. Not because we can necessarily affect anything directly. I can't make someone's home come back that's been burned to the ground, and I can't alleviate anyone's anxiety about the uncertainty of their lives. However, something is happening energetically. Why? Because we are all connected. We are intimately connected. That's the wonderful paradox of being human and having a precious life, is while we are individuals, we are intimately and sacredly connected to one another, all of life. And so my efforts here today to generate a space of openness and spaciousness, a space to reflect on peace, neutrality, ambivalence, presence. This has an extraordinary positive effect. Grounding, clarifying, healing even. So whatever uncertainty you're holding, someone somewhere is also holding uncertainty, but they're not here practicing. They might not even know how. So we can breathe that uncertainty in, inspired by our own lives, and on behalf of many, many others, fearlessly present, fearlessly bearing witness, feeling grief, loss, fear, and acting on it by transforming it in the mind, in the heart, in the body, so that when we breathe out, we radiate ease, clarity, calm, kindness, resourcefulness, presence. Breathing in uncertainty, the ambivalent nature that can come with it, and to take a break, and to know that having a moment's joy is not a betrayal to the loss or the grief. It's a break. It's a a breeze of fresh air to clear away the smoke. It's the last little bit of water on a smoldering stump. Breathing out the sincerity of your practice, the sincerity of your presence. Breathing in so many people just like me. You know, these kinds of events really do eradicate the intolerant insistences dividing people by religion, race, politics, gender. All of those cultural aspects are just diminished completely, and what we recognize is this is a human being just like me who does not want to suffer, just like I wouldn't want to suffer. So may my practice bring them clarity, ease, bird song, good food, friendship, kindness from insurance adjusters, and so on. Leadership. And the final thing I'm going to say about this, as we go into a little bit of silence so we can reflect, is remember that apathy renders an individual inactive, cannot care anymore, cannot do, cannot think, cannot act, cannot see, cannot imagine. That is the state of apathy. Ambivalence is incredibly active, because while it may not be able to address something directly in the moment, it knows it's taking a break and will come back to whatever it needs to do. And I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, we were packing up and getting ready to evacuate, and we had most of the day to prepare and to really think about it. And I was so grateful for all of the notifications and warnings, although it was jolting and terrible, because these are like Amber Alerts, and it just makes it sound like, you know, the world is coming to an end right now, go. And it's terrifying, it really is. And so at one point I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't look at these notifications. I can't look at these videos anymore. I just need to take a break. And I don't really know what to do with myself because my mind is too scattered. So I need to do something that doesn't require a lot of thought, that doesn't require a lot of anything other than my presence. And so I have this humongous bag, like a giant leaf bag, filled with poppy seed heads, poppy seed wombs. Most of the seeds have already been disseminated, but I've been gathering them up and shaking them out in this bag. And so I decided to pull them out by the handful and just shake, 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 shake all these seeds into this bowl. And so I'd have this arising of anxiety, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And then it was like, I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about poppy seeds. Shake, 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 shake. Oh my God, my puppies, they've never been in a car before. Are they going to freak out and be climbing all over me if I drive away? Yeah, Julia, we're not thinking about that right now. We're thinking about poppy seeds. Shake, 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 shake. I must have done that for an hour. And it was never calm necessarily. It was always an arising, then an invitation to shake, another arising, invitation to shake. But the whole time I was doing it, notice I was doing something. It was very effective. I've got all these poppy seeds now. It's gorgeous. The wind was crazy, so then I decided to go ahead and spread some bachelor button seeds that I'd had and sow those. What's going to happen to my barns and my Jane, and I don't know. We're not going to think about that right now because we're sowing seeds instead. Taking a break. So the fear, the worry, it was all right there. I was not doing anything to make it go away. I was simply with it and doing something else. Apathy says we're shutting the whole thing down. Ambivalence says, what else can we do? So let's just take some quiet time to take this in. Use your breath as a beautiful anchor. And I'd also like to encourage a real massage at the level of the heart, a real softening, that your effort here, energetically especially, people all over the United States and even the world, your presence here, your practice here, your breath here, it's extraordinary in its capacity to transform, to heal, to bring hope and light and brightness. It's a reflection of your magnificence and divine beauty. Enjoy your practice. It's so important to have a gentle reminder. And again, this is just my perspective. So I'm going to offer this perspective, and I want to invite you to just consider how it lands for you. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been in spiritual circles all of my life. And there are two things that really strike as essential to the practice for me. And one of them comes from Thich Nhat Hanh. And, this is a guy that became a novice monk at the age of 16. And at that time, he was in a cloistered environment, chanting, praying, meditating, and so on. And then as his life continued to blossom, the Vietnam War happened, and he was called to be of service, to get out there and help. And so what happened for him was he realized that the practice that he was learning in the monastery and all of the time sitting on the cushion and meditating found this application in real life. And so he coined a whole concept called engaged Buddhism. And, and if it wasn't for his exile, the world would never know about mindfulness in the way that it does. And that's amazing. That's miraculous. And so, what he did that was so fascinating to me is really against the governing body of the Zen Buddhism that he was practicing. They wanted him in the monastery. They wanted him praying. They wanted him doing that cloistered life. And he said, no, I'm not seeking enlightenment in that way. And so the other thing that I want to offer you, it comes from a writer by the name of Jeff Brown, and he coined a phrase or a word that I really love. And again, Thich Nhat Hanh was very motivated about taking this enlightened point of view, this spiritual point of view, and making it real. So Jeff Brown's word is not to become enlightened, but to become enrealed, enrealment. And I really love that because there's something about spiritual practice and seeking enlightenment that sort of suggests that we'll eventually get above it all, beyond it all. And the reality is it's messy. I mean, we're dealing with humans, and we smell, and we make mistakes, and we're clueless, and we're stressed, and we're weird, and we're awkward, and sometimes we're distorted and disturbed, and all of the things. And I don't know that we get very far by trying to be so perfect that we're above and beyond it all. I think it really is a matter of honing the practice to be able to be with whatever is happening, and we don't lose ourselves. We don't lose ourselves to the dark side, to aggression, intolerance, hatred, greed, misery, because there's just enough of it. And so if we can practice in our own lives, in our own real lives, on how to work with that, I think we're going to be okay. And I think we'll make it a little bit brighter, a little bit better. I think that's a beautiful way to bring meaning and purpose to life. So I want to thank you all for your incredible practice. And we're going to have a month of looking at wise speech in the Spokane Sangha. And for those of you who have the SatiSeva book, there's a whole chapter on wise speech. And I think it's chapter, I can't remember now. No, it's in the mind practices. It's chapter 12. And I would really encourage you all, just, it's a very long chapter. It's the second longest. The longest chapter is about encouragement. But this is all about, um, how do we stay firm and clear in our expectations and lenient? I don't have an answer to that. It's a practice. Sometimes we get it right. Sometimes we're messy because we're human. And it's a wonderful opportunity to invite it to be perfect and to keep frickin' going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Friends, we meet tomorrow, 6 p.m. John's going to guide our practice. Lo has posted in the chat all the things. I do want to let everyone know that we have Monday morning meditation tomorrow, starting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. And I'm sorry? Pacific time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be talking about working with regret. And this is a Pasade practice that I have shared here and in different workshops and stuff like that. And it's just a wonderful, intentional way of working with regret. So much of the unpracticed ways that we work with regret is we use it as a whipping tool. And we've convinced ourselves that if we can just whip ourselves into shape, we'll have nothing to regret. And yet the regret lingers. The other thing about regret that's really important to note is its relationship to the archetype called the saboteur. So if you're doing IFS, it's that inner voice of the saboteur. Jung used archetypes. And it's that personality that's like, you don't want to be too happy. I mean, remember, you've got all this regret going. You ruined your life. And so you're not allowed to have a pleasant, happy life. So no, 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 no. Too much happiness is to be suspicious and all of that. So we're going to work with that and question it. So those are our meditations Monday morning. If you can't come, but you'd like to receive the recordings, you can make a Dana offering for that. It's all on the website. And then finally, on Saturday, next August 8th, Raven and I are doing a Reiki sound bath. And this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for just really addressing the nervous system and taking the nervous system out of places of alarm, resistance, and exhaustion, and putting the nervous system into places of restoration and rejuvenation. It's an intentional practice. It's an intentional way to gain access to deep healing and rest. So if you want to join us for that, you can check it out on the website. Email me. Several of you have been emailing me, and you've been humoring me by letting me send you photographs of flowers and nonsense from the farm. And I just want to extend my appreciation and my joy. I love, love, love keeping in touch with you. It's such a small, huge thing. So please write to me if that's a way that you'd like to process your mind and your heart. I enjoy it thoroughly. Alrighty, friends, let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. Take a deep breath in. Allow the exhale to be complete. Take another deep breath in, breathing in, filling your lungs completely. Exhale. May this passive action, to meditate is a passive yet active activity. It's a quieting activity. It's the cultivation of stillness. So may those qualities that you have garnered here, that you are cultivating here and nurturing here, may it infuse your personality, your way of being, your way of interacting, and allow you to embody this stronghold of presence, of awareness. And even if you have a short wick of patience, that awareness can bring you into ambivalence, where you take a break so you don't have to lose yourself to apathy and you can still care. There are practiced people and there are clearly unpracticed people. And may our practice, remember, our practice has the capacity to benefit both. So may our practice be of service far and wide. Thank you so much for sharing it here today. You're so amazing. May you be safe out there. May you enjoy your precious life and all the lives that are in your life. Enjoy them, squeeze them, kiss them, flirt with them. It's all good. We'll see you next time, maybe even as soon as tomorrow. Namaste.